All right.
Welcome, everybody. We're excited to be here. Mario back with Lexit, and we've got a special show for you tonight featuring a gubernatorial candidate out of New Mexico that we are just very excited to be a part and backing here with Lexit. And to give her the proper introduction, I'm going to turn it over to my Lexit sister, Melinda Rivera. Melinda.
Thanks, Mario. Hey, everybody. How's it going? I want to thank everybody who is joining us today to listen in. As we know, we all have a very important election coming up across this country, right? We've got to many of our states and where I'm from and where Karen is from, New Mexico, currently are being ran by some pretty strong dictator type governors. And so one of the most important elections that we know we have coming up is for governor. And Lexit has chosen to endorse Karen Bedonie for many reasons. Karen Bedonie is a candidate that is standing with the people. As I like to say, she's going to every crack and crevice in New Mexico, as we all know that New Mexico is a very rural state. And so many have been able to get to meet her and speak with her live. And so, we couldn't have picked a more people's candidate like Karen Bedonie. So Karen, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart as a fellow New Mexican, thank you so much for everything that you've done, for everything that you are doing, and, for your fighting spirit and putting your name in the hat to take over such, a job that is not going to be easy in a state like New Mexico. We both know the ins and the outs of what's happening there. And all I know is that I'm really super happy and excited to be a part of this with you. And we know there's a lot of work to be done. And my goodness, you've already got a jump start right out of the gate. You've been traveling all over New Mexico. So, just want to give you a little bit give you a minute to introduce yourself and tell the Lexit platform here who you are and why you are running for governor.
Great. Thank you. Thank you both for having me today. My name is Karen Bedonie. She'eya Karen Bedonie Yanishya, and that's in Navajo. I am a Navajo full-blooded Native American, but I do have ancestry that goes back into the beginnings of New Mexico. And we actually have clans for Lexit. I guess the people, the cultural entities. Because we as Navajo people, we married into other peoples, other tribes, and so Nakai Dene is actually how I would address you. So Melinda, my sister, you would actually have a clan in my tribe, and I would take you as my sister, and it's very simple like that. And also thank you, Mario. Thank you for having me, and also the same thing, Nakai Dene. That's who you are as your people, and that's how we describe you and how the gods will recognize you. Heavenly Father in Jesus. So I am a God-fearing woman. I have 8 children. I've been homeschooling all of them because we are facing such a socialistic suppression. And right now it's coming all over New Mexico, but it's something that I've lived with for many years. I'm from upper northwest New Mexico, a place called Navajo, New Mexico, and a little place called Toronto. And that's where the water comes up and from the ground in a spring, a natural spring. I am a water carrier, so my clan is Tolhane. That means near the water. So we are all about the water and the healing. And so I'm really happy to be here. And I do have, other clans. So let's see if there's any Navajo that are watching us. And this is an addressing to you and to show respect also to both of you for listening to me and sitting with me, and also addressing all those that are out there that do have Native American blood in them. Mm-hmm. But from what I understand, that we are such a wonderful state that our peoples have already mixed blood. So yes. we all are one big family. So my journey here in New Mexico is actually founded on that principle of unity and family, because my tribe call themselves Dene, the Dene, and Dene means the people. And so when they say we the people, it's very huge for me. And we are a conservative tribe. Our roots go traditionally back to conservatism, about the family, God and country and all these types of things, Mother Earth. And so when you wrap that whole thing up, I become one of the ultimate conservatives that here in the fight for all of America. So I'm a Native American woman, but I stand as an American first right now, especially in the situation that we are in. But I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
That's wonderful.
Awesome. Awesome. Karen, I'm so blessed to be able to hear that. And I love, and I can only assume, because I'm going to ask you to share a little bit about how you got from just being a mom and just being this person of just tremendous character. And then just there's always this tipping point. What took you from just being mom, doing what you do on a daily basis, to saying, you know what, I can't do this anymore, and I've got to throw my name in the hat, in the ring. What did that look like? What was that journey for you?
Well, my journey, I guess it started with my husband. I always have the saying that I will fight you to save you. Where we come from, it's very socialistic. It's very communistic right now. We don't have running water because the government won't allow us to right now. They won't give us the permits to drill and do certain things. Electricity is something that's new. We barely got our electricity to our home 10 years ago. So on our reservation, the government controls everything. The supermarkets, I think there's only like 5 really big prominent supermarkets inside the reservation, and we're talking about 350,000 plus to 500,000 people that shop, and we all leave the reservations every weekend to shop on the outside, and that's why the border towns are very important to us. We make places like Farmington, New Mexico, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona function, and we pour into big towns like Santa Fe, Albuquerque, Phoenix, Arizona, and what we do is we patronize, and so there's a ton of us, and we're all over the place. So our tribe is one of the biggest in the nation. And knowing this, and that we have to leave because we need to find freedom. So you look for freedom every weekend, and it's funny because no one thinks of it that way. But I have been in the fight my whole entire life. For 25 years, I have been fighting politics and politicians, and it's really important that we recognize socialism and what it is and what it really does. And so my journey started by me screaming at the TV because what we were being spoon-fed from the media was wrong. CNN was the one that would really upset me. And I knew innately exactly what they were doing. And when you look at the Democratic policy from the very beginning, the 30 by 30, the Green New Deal, all those are old policies, and they're just revamped up, and they're typed up, and they're given these beautiful little titles, like America the Beautiful. But what it is it's a conquering of people. They're taking our food. They're going to restrict our food. They're restricting our education. And from Indian country, I can tell you this, that when they come for your children, for their minds, now you're seeing the mask mandates happen. It's really heartbreaking to see it because it's old policy. And so we were the experiment, and now all of America's the new application. And that's one thing I always say. So my husband has always been a big support system with me in all my decision making, even for our family, because we have 8 kids. And when you're fighting socialism, we had to use capitalism and make some very big decisions in our lives. And when we became business owners, and when we did that, all that became impacted, and we were suppressed and oppressed, and we could not grow. So just to keep pushing, you realize that politics isn't every part of your lives. People that say, "Oh, I don't want to get in politics. I don't have an opinion." But then it's like, well, that opinion you should have needs to impact what's being put upon you, because how we eat, how we move things, energy, fuel costs, you name it, politicians are calling the shots. So one of the big ones was when our own congressional and Senate members restricted forestry for us. We couldn't even get permits to haul wood. And that winter, many of our people were burning their clothes just to stay warm in their houses, in their stoves, because we didn't have enough wood and coal. The coal plants went down. Our oil and gas leases are now on restrict because of Deb Holland and Udall and Heinrich. They went after the Chaco Canyon area, and they put a lot of people into poverty. So all of it was a whole number of things that made me I had to do something, if not for my kids, for everybody else's kids, because nobody was saying it. So I entered the congressional race first, and when I was out there campaigning, I realized that New Mexicans are just like me. We have the same worries and the issues. And as I expanded my thinking and my reach, I decided that and I realized that the people, we all just worry about our families. We worry about our pocketbooks. bills. We don't want a mortgage. We want to pay it down so we can be homeowners. We worry about the economy, our prosperity. And that's the biggest thing America has, is the potential for prosperity. And when I decided to get in this race, that's what it became, would be the fight for America's prosperity. And that's why we have illegal immigration, because they want our prosperity. They're coming for something.
That's right.
And that's what the Democrats don't want us to have, is that prosperity as well. Because when you become independent and free, and your mind is free and self-reliance is there, there's no stopping you.
Right.
And as I'm standing there screaming at the TV, and my husband knew all of these things inside me, he looked at me and he smiled and he says, "You know you're going to run." I go, "For what?" He goes, "For governor." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said that the congressional race that you ran, that was not the race. That was pregame to something bigger. And I think this is it. Because you know exactly what the people need. You will reach out to the smallest child. You'll pick up the most beaten down, animal, and you will help them. But then you also understand innately that the spotted owl will move.
Yeah.
So we will go and harvest our wood. You know how to balance Mother Earth, and you can actually balance the left and the right, and you can be the center of that bird called the eagle. So my husband sat down and talked with me, and we prayed about it. And that's when I said, okay, one thing that God gave me was a whole bunch of courage. There's no fear in me. So I fear no man, but I will stand up and I will fight for the people. So here I am.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
And
thank you for sharing that.
Yes, thank you. And I always get, the butterflies, and I always get really emotional, Karen, because I was sharing with my brother Mario here, New Mexico is a very unique culture, and, we're very different. And we have, even myself, second generation, a Native American. My great-great-grandmother was a full-blooded Apache Mescalero, Spanish and Mexican. I mean, everything that's so blended, and it makes our state so beautiful. And we feel like we're losing that. We're losing what makes New Mexico, pure and beautiful, and us and right. Our culture. And I just, many of us, and I know for myself, I'm speaking for myself, I feel like this governor is really trying to take that and turning it into like a little mini California, where now she's bringing in Hollywood and bringing in Netflix and bringing in jobs in these state jobs that the people of New Mexico are not going to be able to take, right? Like working for these technical federal agency governors for security. That's not what New Mexicans are about. But speaking on that, and in the wake of what right now we're facing, one of my questions for you, facing more lockdowns, is we're watching that rhetoric starting to get strong again, where they're talking about the Delta variant. And we're also watching our children in New Mexico standing up and speaking out and showing up to protest. Our middle school kids, our high school children, our college children, they're coming out, they're holding up signs. I know you stood with the parents today and the children at Floyd School. Floyd, it's been all over the news. I was surprised to see it even on Fox News, where Floyd, New Mexico is an eastern town in New Mexico, and it's not been seen before nor heard of before, where a governor actually suspends the whole school board. We've never seen that in this country.
Wow.
And of course, in New Mexico, we get to be the first, right? So this governor has suspended the whole school board because they're fighting for the parents to make their own decision for their children if they're going to wear a mask, not to push this this vaccine on our children either. So tell us a little bit about what that was like today, what the parents are actually, saying. And, like I said, you were there with them, standing with them during this protest.
Right. Well, the protest is stemming from this whole lockdown situation. Mm-hmm. The governor, she seems like she wields a sword that she believes that she can, but it's unconstitutional because most of these school board members, all of these school board members were duly elected by the people. Mm-hmm. So it's violating their constitutional right to seat and represent. And it's crazy because I don't even think Michelle Lujan Grisham really understands that she can't be doing things like that. And she's using her departments to enforce this. And it's really, it's terrible. And it's pinning a community against each other, because you have people that work in those school systems and they have to make a decision. Do I lose my job? How do I put food on the table? As opposed to, and then following the mandates and then looking bad at, in front of their own community. So it's a very torn and divisive sword that she's wielding. And it's unfortunate. Now, with this whole lockdown situation, I don't think she's going to have a lot of support like she did the first time around, meaning through her departments, because of the vaccine mandates. A lot of the state cops, the state police, they resigned because they didn't want to take the vaccine. And they know, and a lot of the nurses that work in the hospitals and situations, they were also under attack and they don't want to take the vaccine. And it's funny because these are professionals. These are very educated, intelligent people. So why don't they want to take the vaccine? Because the science that she's reading and harping to us, and, Mima Bird, she's just telling us, is not the real science. We know exactly what we're doing. We're very intelligent people. Yes, we pulled the research. We pulled even the microplastics coming off the face mask. We pulled those off. And to know that, cloth mask is supposed to protect you from a virus, we know that's also inaccurate. So why are they pushing it? And I think it's total political propaganda. So that's why I stand tall with these parents, because I believe that innately you should have the power and the freedom to raise your family the way you feel. So if you want to raise your child in a more understanding way of America, America the beautiful, America home of the whole concept of what America is based on, our home, and the American dream, that's what they're fighting for. Because they're trying to teach their kids that the government should never control you. We have to represent our government and be in control of our government. That was the whole reason for the amendments, First Amendment to speak out, Second Amendment to ensure that your First Amendment is not violated. It goes back and forth. And to stand with these parents was important to me. So I drove 6 hours. I'm still here. I'm going to another protest this evening here in Portales. And then we're going to hit the road and we're going to drive as far as we can. And then we're going to be in Farmington tomorrow for their protest. And it's important that we let these parents know that we care and that you are being heard. As this next governor, if I can make it and fight my way to that seat, I will empower the school systems at the local level, because that's where they need to be.
And that's good. I'm glad you're going to Farmington. Farmington, just so many of you out there that are watching, Farmington is a town more on the northwest part of New Mexico. And unfortunately, this district during the lockdowns of COVID had one of the highest suicidal rates for our children. New Mexico was #1 in suicides during the lockdown. New Mexico's last in everything good, right? And all of the good standings, everything that we need to thrive. Correct. And we were #1 in suicides last year. And it was really tough, because you, as well as I, and many of us that are activists, that are grassroots and out there standing and fighting for the people, we hear the pain that these parents are carrying. Right. We hug them. We let them cry on our shoulders, because, they don't understand why this is happening in America. Sadly, the governor chalked it off as that they're just being bullied by other children, instead of realizing that the only bully in New Mexico that affected our children was a governor herself. So Mario, so that's what we're dealing with our schools here. Oh, sorry, you're muted.
No?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, the things that really are just striking with me is that, you have people out there that are mandating the mask, and you hit it right there. Choice is the very essence of America, right? I found myself, because it just, we get emotional as parents, and my kids started picking it up. Dad, look at those people with a mask on. And I said, hold on, buddy. The same way we want the right to choose not to wear a mask, we have to respect somebody who chooses to wear a mask. Yeah. And it's not about the mask, it's about the mandate.
Yeah, it's our freedom.
It's our freedom, right? So there's that. Then you're looking at just the basic fundamental needs: water, wood, electricity. It's shameful that in the most wealthiest country in the world, people don't have basic necessities. Right. It's absolutely shameful. So really, really thankful that you did step up and stand up, because it's just not right. Absolutely not right. So my question to you is this, is that, Lexit was, and I was sharing this with Melinda earlier, Lexit was not created to say, hey, everybody leave the Democrats and become Republicans. The core of Lexit was founded to show Latinos that if you really put your emotions to the side and think, you're a conservative. And then that's what happened to me in my personal life. I realized that if I looked at what was important to me, I looked at the two parties, I was like, well, I definitely don't have a place over there. That's for sure. Right. And then I became, conservative, and, 9 times out of 10, I'm siding with the Republicans. So why do you believe that minorities, Native Americans, Mexicans, Hispanics, Latinos, what have you, are conservatives? Why do you believe that they're conservatives?
It's in our teachings. We're family-based. When you look at the policies, like the whole non-gender, non-binary thing, it doesn't make sense to me. I am born a female, and I've been told that. I've given a female name. You're going through the female steps, and you're getting prepared for your life as a mother. I mean, that's just the way it is. And the way they teach things like liberal arts, I guess, I don't know. It didn't sit well with me. That's how I knew I was conservative. It was always God first. And now they're trying to remove God from everything. They said separation from church and state. And when they say that, that's not exactly what they're saying. They're just trying to, they're talking about the politics of it. Yeah. But prayer and understanding and spirituality that strengthen our people, all peoples. When I say ours, not just me, not the Navajo people, but when I say our people would be, all peoples. Yeah. And God is a big one. And I think that's the first marker, is we have to look at that. Also family. I think as Native Americans, we're very family oriented, in the Democratic policies, especially during after LBJ Lyndon Johnson, he pushed really hard to break up the family nucleus. And that's really important to our tribe, because you have to have both the female and the male to raise a family. Right. And I'm not saying anything against the LGBTQ, movement and how they identify, but I don't understand why the Democratic Party has to make me do certain things. It doesn't make any sense to me, because they said that we will be voting Democrat, for 200 years. He was talking about the Black Americans, but at the same time, those same policies were applied to all peoples, and then the ones that did they took. So Native America and Indian country, as well as the Hispanic community that I'm seeing, we are all suffering the same fate, what Candace Johnson is talking about. I mean, Candace Owens, excuse me, I'm so sorry. But Candace Owens, she talks really hard about these things, and she hits them out of the ballpark every time. And when I was listening to her, I was like, she's right, because our Native American men are demonized, and they're pulled out of the family nucleus. So these democratic policies of socialism, to be socially dependent on these programs, what it does, it takes the man out of the equation, because you get more if you are a single, victim. So the whole victimization part of it is a big part of that too. And so Native America right now, the indoctrination is that I am a victim, supposed to be a victim, and that this is all our land and everybody needs to get off of it because it's all stolen land. And that's the old doctrination and the old way of thinking. And that's not how I see it. I see it as I was born, in this time, and I wasn't born in the 1800s. So why would I make the people around me suffer? And I refuse to carry that burden, and I refuse to let my children carry that burden. But I also believe in hard work. You keep what you earn. I mean, if you sow those seeds, you should be able to bear that fruit. And those are also conservative values. So when you start to push, and the real original merit of the Republican Party was based on equalization of another people, when they were going against the slavery, trying to abolish the entire thing so they could bring these people up to be equal human beings. That was very important to me to understand, because I am consistently looked at as, oh, you're just an incompetent Indian. I don't think she knows what she's doing. No one's going to vote for her. I mean, I have all these labels that they stick all over me consistently. But being who I am and being a true conservative, I know that's wrong. So what I do is I stand up as an American. If I stand as a conservative, and those are everything I believe in, my morals and my values, and that's how I move. And so I am conservative through and through. And when they fight in our own party as Republicans, they're forgetting about exactly how we were founded upon. It was civility. It's not labeling people. It's trying to work through it, because this is a republic that is so precious. We have to try to keep it. And that's the name of the whole situation, is a republic, if we can keep it. And I believe in that. And that's why I just said, you know what, it's our time to stand up and do this. So I am conservative through and through. And it's just the way I was raised.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Awesome.
You hear that it comes from your heart, you know. And when I first started getting serious about understanding that the minority communities, in generalities, most minority communities are conservative, it was because you said that. First and foremost, we love God, we love family, we love our right to protect ourselves and bear arms, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? What I also notice is how many, speaking from a Latino community, how many entrepreneurs there are, whether they're small time entrepreneurs, local community business owned, right? People who all they ever wanted was an opportunity to, my favorite saying is, to have a track to run on, right? Don't keep me on the track. Don't set me 15 feet ahead. Don't set me 15 feet behind. Just let me start at the same line as everyone, because we were always taught pride, right? You give charity, right? You don't take it. And when you do take it, you take it, when you need it, and then you stop and you go back, because God honors hard work, and so that when you sit and have these conversations with people, they don't know what they don't know, because all they hear about is what's on the media, this, critical race theory that teaches that, the big bad white man is against us and we need help. If I was 15, 16 years old now, I'd say, no, I don't. I was taught that I could do anything I want.
American
I was taught that
dream.
with the Lord on my side and I'm working hard enough, I could do anything. Right. But they're brainwashing them to believe that. And that's the biggest problem. So I'm very blessed to hear your words.
And, and on that subject, and this is, why we're very proud of you, Karen. And I mean, you have many of the support, the support of many New Mexicans. But on that note, today I received a phone call, and this is a very important question that I wanted to ask as well and bring to attention, as I received a phone call from some family members in New Mexico. Small businesses were forced to shut down during COVID. She literally shut down thousands of our small businesses. People were forced out of work. Literally, I mean, just the unemployment was through the roof. Here we are, fast forward to today, and I'm hearing that they are getting letters. Like I said, one of them being a family member, that there was an error. And as a matter of fact, KOB did a story on it, that there was an error in the system and millions of dollars were sent out to New Mexicans through unemployment erroneously. Now these New Mexicans that have been shunned from work, forced to stay home against their will, forced to have their businesses shut down. Mind you, a lot of our suicides from that, our number one, was from people losing their businesses because she shut them down. And so now you're forcing your people to be on unemployment. Now there was a glitch in the system, right? There's a glitch in the system, and erroneously millions of dollars were sent out to New Mexicans through unemployment that they should not have received. They are now being asked to pay this money back. One family member was told $11,000 was sent to him erroneously. He must pay it back. There was a young mom was told that $14,000 was sent to her erroneously. She needs to pay that back. They are also giving them an outrageous amount that they could pay back monthly or pay it in full or face jail time. What do you say to these new Mexico? This just came out. And one of my own children is back at work, but is also having to pay some money back. So lots of people in New Mexico are getting this letter from the state due to the glitch in the system. I know. What is your message to them, Karen, about this situation?
Wow. Well, our governor is basically, she's an idiot, because she didn't see this coming, and she's not watching funding happening. She's not tracking her dollars. I don't know what she's doing.
Contact tracing.
Right.
She put millions of dollars into contact tracing.
Right. Right.
Is it going to go anywhere?
And no, it's not going to go anywhere. The thing about it is, this is a government mistake. So why should the people suffer? I think we need to get this election over with as soon as possible, and we need to, put her away for what she's done. I think her actions have really put a lot of people into the next world. That's what I say. A lot of people have died. A lot of people have committed suicide because of these choices that she's made, and she should be held accountable. That's how I feel internally and deep in my heart and my soul, as I feel that she needs to pay for crimes against humanity, New Mexican humanity. And to put that kind of stress on the people when they had no idea, when they were told and we were saying, oh, help is coming, we're going to save you. And that was the rhetoric that they were pushing. And that's heartbreaking. We're going to have to figure this out. And we need to, she needs to leave with all of that mistake. And I think we as New Mexico, though, we need to get back up on our feet and we need to stimulate this economy. Right now, businesses, we lost, yeah, you're right, thousands. And I lost 2 of my businesses during this COVID lockdown. I got shut down twice. And I did do a video during that time and I got ridiculed for it, but we had to shut down our shop and we lost 2 of our businesses and called it quits because we just couldn't sustain the overhead. And what they were giving us, these little checks and these little stipends, I'm like, that's not even going to cover a percentage of the overhead, even for electricity. Are you guys crazy? So even to see the other states function in the red states that had their businesses stay open, like South Dakota, Christine, she let her businesses stay open, and they were one of the safest states. Now she's has one of the biggest economies growing. So what New Mexico has done was absolutely wrong. I don't think it should be. The people should have to carry that burden. Right now, we're being taxed to death. You're going to see our insurance and our registration rates go through the roof for the motor vehicle department because she's going to pull money from wherever she can because we are broke. We are in the red, and she has overspent.
Just like California.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she overspent
we
the
were
first
already
month.
broke before this. New Mexico was already a state where it was last in everything, and we were already a state. The number one things that we had on us is that we were number one in federal funding, and they try to chalk it up. Well, it's because we have, we have Sandia, we have the labs. No, it is because we have poverty that is through the roof. We have more people that are government dependent than anybody. This is why New Mexico is number one in federal funding, because we
have the best social programs here.
Yes. And so for her to do this to an already broken state, for her to do this to a state that was already down and out and last in everything good is pure evil. To shut down the businesses that people work so hard for, to take away civil liberties and freedoms, is the most evil thing to people that were already down on their luck, like a state of New Mexico. And so, and we know people are yearning for better. We don't want to be like California. We don't want to be like New York. We love being our little small town, rural area. We like that we have Albuquerque. We have the city, we have Las Cruces, even though Albuquerque is a scary place to go sometimes due to our high crimes. But, we don't want to turn into a California. And it seemed, she's bringing in Hollywood, she's bringing in Netflix, she's bringing in all of these industries that New Mexico is not prepared for. She's trying to shut down oil and gas, which brings in about $3 million a year, plus
more.
revenue for New Mexico. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to put a guy that works on a tanker to hold a boom mic? I mean, what is she thinking here? We have no other options. As a matter of fact, another sad thing is we're losing New Mexicans by the droves. People are moving out of state. It's as if these Democratic held states are trying to push out good, conservative, strong people that are pushing back so that they can reign their power over those that are complying so that they can stay in power. That's a scary thing. And what is, as far as, I have another question in regards to all this, especially towards your campaign that I wanted to ask before we get too far out of time. Many people in New Mexico understand your stance as far as where you're taking your campaign and how you are working and walking and with the people instead of the party, the Republican Party. You are a Republican candidate, but you are not one of the chosen candidates from the Republican Party. I know that they've had some, gatherings. They get all and round up all of the Republican governors to do these, events, and either whether, I know there's been like some scheduling conflict, but some people say that, maybe we're just not, you're not participating. What is your message to the people that are thinking, why isn't Karen standing with all of the other candidates? She's pretty much on her own out there, and not per se the status quo of how we do things in New Mexico as far as the Republican Party.
Right. Well, in New Mexico, the Republican Party is a very old animal. I think it's a tired animal. And they keep putting these Republicans into this maze. It's a little box maze. And what they have to do is they have to try to get out of this maze. The first one gets out, they might get the nomination. They're not going to see if you have the best character, you have the integrity, what your platform is. It's basically how much control you can be under. And if you're willing to, I guess, die on the sword of the Republican Party. And when they first introduced that to me as a congressional candidate, I was completely perplexed by the whole thing. I'm thinking, what is this? Because they were like, well, you have to do it like this. And I'm like, no, I don't. Because this is America and it's my choice to run. And they said, well, this is how you run a campaign. And I took that handbook, and I always tell people, I chucked it out the window. I said, I'm not going to follow it, because what you're doing is a recipe for failure consistently over and over. And we know what the definition of, not getting the same result, and not trying to do anything different, is insanity. Correct. So I was like, what are we doing here? So I was the one that really asked the hard questions. And when they can't answer me, then why would I follow you? Why would I follow you when you can't even inspire me? I don't want to be in politics. I always tell people that I never asked to do this. This is not something I wanted, not because I have a big ego. It's because it has to be done, because I'm sick of screaming into the void and no one hearing me. So I have to do it myself. And I'm going to carry the voices of all the people who feel the same way as me. And so when they tell me, well, can she be controlled? It's not like I'm a bad person. It's because I believe that we need to walk together in unity, and I need to stand as their equal. Now, when they have their little shindigs that they do, it's just a handful. There's only about 20 players in the New Mexico Republican Party, and these players have been there for far too long. What they don't understand is that power is in the people and the numbers. Yeah. So for every little town hall that they hold, I can be able, and they give me 5 minutes. They want me to travel hours and hours for 5, 10, 15 minutes. And basically it's like a parading of show horses. I keep saying this. That's their horses.
Dog and pony show.
Yeah. And they parade them in front of you, and they look beautiful. They dance really nice. But I'm a workhorse. I'm not a show horse. This is not something that I wanted to do. I keep telling them too, if you give me somebody that will inspire me, someone that can lead me, someone that can tell me it's going to be okay, Karen, I got this, I can go home. But they can't give me nobody. Everyone has deficiency greater than 60% when I look at them. And I did my own research. I wouldn't be in this race if they had someone that could actually beat me. And, I have no fear. So I think, when they have their town halls and I don't show up, it's not because I don't want to or whatever they're gossiping. It's because we've worked so stinking hard that our schedule is packed. I am here doing an interview here in Portales, New Mexico. I squeezed you in between 2 protests and actual meet and greet. And for them to say, oh, well, should they make it to our town hall? Well, you know what, guess now, I'm booked out now until November. And I'm going to be booked out until December. And it's because we are moving the people. We are going to them. And when they call, I haul. They are more important to me than the party little, dog and pony show, like you said. I just can't do it. I can't waste my time. I can't be plastic and shake their hand and smile and be cordial. I can do it, but it's just a waste of time. We have no time. We're in to save the state. It's a battle. It's a war between good and evil. And we're screwing around. That's what we're doing, is we're just messing around, rubbing elbows and whatever you want to do. I'm not good at it. I actually will say I'm incapable of kissing ass. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's awesome.
That's inspiring. That's absolutely inspiring. Karen, on that note, how can people get in touch with you? How can they follow you? How can they know what's going on? And not only that, you've got a lot of people to touch and hear for the very first time. And then you're going to run into people that say, man, I can get behind this woman. What can I do? So how do we win? How do we follow you? What do we have to do? I'm hoping this goes viral and you just see a ton of people listening to this for the first time. They get stirred up. Now what? Now what?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that my great-great-great-grandfather was Jesus Urbizo. He was the one that actually helped translate from Navajo to Spanish, and then where the soldiers could go from Spanish to English and send my people home.
Wow.
So I have a great respect for Lexit. I'm so honored that you're able to see me for who I am, and also to interview me and dig deep to find your candidate. Because a lot of people will not dig. They want to be spoon-fed this information. But to show that Lexit backed me first, I'm very grateful, and I'm very honored. The next thing is what we need to do is we need to pray, because you know what? Every day I go through hell. People don't know what comes through. I need protection. This campaign needs protection. And so pray for that, and pray for yourselves. Pray that you can see and you have discernment and we can go forward together. That's the first thing I need people to do, is actually believe that we can win this thing. I believe it, and that's why I'm still on the road. The next thing is you can go and research me. You need to know so much about me that you can go to war for me on my behalf when people are talking bad about me.
That's good. That's
So
good.
I have a website. It's called Bedonie Tough, BEDONIETOUGH.com. Tough is because people just say she just doesn't take any crap from nobody. And it's not because I'm arrogant or I'm mean. It's just because, like I said, I'm incapable of it. I just don't deal with it very well. But I do say it, and I call it as I see it. So if someone's messing around, I'll tell them, hey, cut it out, because we don't have time for that. So BedonieTough.com, and there I have YouTube channels. I've given as much information as a look into my family too. I did some homeschool lessons on YouTube. It's all connected there. I did interviews on OAN, Newsmax. It's all connected there. Your endorsements, also my website. I do also have a regular page that I used to keep, KarenBedonie.com. It'll take you back to the campaign page again. And there you can donate. We have to raise at least $150,000 before November. And we're looking at that deadline right now before it sparks big interest groups that are actually looking at me right now. I'm also happy to say that we do have a major campaign team. It's the same campaign team that's running Sarah Huckabee Sanders' campaign for governor.
That's awesome.
Or on the national level. So I'm going after the endorsements at DC. So when I venture out of the state, I want to make sure that they're really great patriots of this country know who I am and know that I'm fighting for them. People like Jim Jordan, I have followed him for years, and I love everything that he says, how he stuck to our president, and he did not waver in any sense. That commitment shows integrity, and also that's his friend. So people like Kristi Noem, I really admire the way she handled her state and the way she actually handled her economics. Economics is the key to the whole thing. But we need to raise money, and right now New Mexico is broke. So whoever is out there and outside of the state, we'd really appreciate your help to help us flip red, because this state, we have been Democrat for so long, and I don't even think it's been done accurately. I believe our elections were stolen. I believe that Donald Trump is our president, but I'm dealing with it. I'm dealing with the loss by standing up myself and saying enough is enough. I'm going to have to do this myself. So it's inspiring, I guess, is to see a lot of people when the money starts coming in. There's a little bit of relief there, because what they said is she can't raise any money. She's so Indian that no one's going to talk to her. She's so incompetent. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's not intelligent enough to figure this out. So the labels will start to come. But when the money starts to pour, it silences them. And the Republican Party, they use money as a marker for everything.
Yeah.
If we can get in the game, we're going to have to raise probably about a good $2 to $3 million to beat Michelle Lujan Grisham. Even if she raises $10 million against me, she's going to have to spend thousands of dollars for my $1, because she screwed up so bad. Our money will be worth more when we start running ads. I mean, her whole track record is going to crush her on her own.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, well, thank you so much, Karen. I know for me, being a fellow New Mexican, I still get very emotional with everything, because we love our land, we love our home, we love our culture, we love our people. And so to watch it be destroyed with such evilness, that's why my heart is connected to yours during this. And, I sent our Lexit team your video. I also sent it to Mario so that he could watch your campaign video. We'll keep sharing it here so that people know why you are running for governor of New Mexico. We're going to continue to make the voices of New Mexicans be heard across this country so that we are no longer the forgotten state. Many of us have been working so hard. Many New Mexicans have been out there screaming at the rooftops, the top of the mountains, that we are here we're not doing okay right now, but we are fighting, and we need the support and the love of our fellow Americans. And it's been such a beautiful thing to see that come to fruition, to be a part of Lexit, for them to hear our voices through me, so that they can see what the people need. The love and support is so great right now, and it's so overwhelming. And I know that that is trickling down to you, and which is why you are now, doing something is not easy. Even just being an activist is hard. So
Right.
what you're doing, I pray for you daily. I pray for everybody across this nation that is standing up to such evil that has shown its face to us, and is manifested exactly what they are here to do. But God is so powerful.
Thank you so much.
We're not going to let Satan win. So, Mario, thank you, brother, for being here with us today. And
thank you, Melinda.
Such a very special show. So God bless you both, and God bless you, all of you who have watched and tuned in today. Please share on your pages. Please subscribe to the YouTube channels, Lexit, as well as Lexit Espanol here on Facebook. Go and follow all of us. And Karen Bedonie, go and check her out, bedonietough.com. And we just want to thank you all again. God bless you all.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.